Do you know who conquered the mighty Persian Empire before turning 30? A young man from a small kingdom in Macedonia, driven by ambition, brilliance, and an unbreakable will, Alexander the Great. Born in 356 BCE in the city of Pella, Alexander was destined for greatness. His father, King Philip II, was a military genius who united the Greek city-states under Macedonian rule. From a young age, Alexander was trained for leadership, but he wasn't just taught how to fight, he was taught how to think. His tutor? The great philosopher Aristotle. Imagine that. One of the sharpest minds in philosophy shaping one of the sharpest minds in conquest. Under Aristotle's guidance, Alexander absorbed knowledge about science, philosophy, politics, and art. But he also developed a belief that the Greek way of life, its culture, language, and ideals, was superior. And one day, he'd spread it far beyond Greece. When Alexander was just 20, his father was assassinated. In the chaos that followed, many thought Macedon would collapse, but Alexander didn't hesitate. He crushed revolts in Greece, reasserted control, and was crowned king. Then he set his sights east, on the vast Persian Empire. In 334 BCE, Alexander led an army of 40,000 across the Hellespont into Asia. He didn't just want to beat Persia, he wanted to destroy it. The first major clash came at the Battle of Granicus. Against overwhelming odds, Alexander led the charge himself, nearly dying in the process. But his boldness inspired his troops and brought victory. It wouldn't be the last time he put himself at the front of the fight. His most famous battle came at Issus, where he faced King Darius III and a Persian army twice the size of his own. But Alexander's tactics, lightning-fast cavalry maneuvers, disciplined phalanx formations, overwhelmed the Persians. Darius fled, leaving his family behind. To Alexander, this wasn't just a win. It was a message. No king could stand against him. Next, he turned to Egypt. The people welcomed him as a liberator. In return, he founded the city of Alexandria, which would become one of the most important cities in history. There, he visited the oracle of Amun, who declared him the son of a god. Alexander believed it. In 331 BCE, he faced Darius again, this time at Gaugamela. Despite being outnumbered, Alexander's army broke the Persian lines, forcing Darius to flee once more. Soon after, he entered the Persian capitals, Susa, Babylon, Persepolis, and took their wealth, their culture, and their crown. He had done the impossible, conquered the largest empire the world had ever known. But he didn't stop. He pushed east into Central Asia, battling rebels, mountain tribes, and harsh terrain. It was here that his tactics evolved. He no longer fought set-piece battles. He waged guerrilla warfare, adapting to new environments. He also began adopting Persian customs, wearing local dress and marrying a Bactrian noblewoman named Roxana. To many of his Greek officers, this was betrayal. But to Alexander, it was unity, a new empire that blended east and west. In 326 BCE, he reached the Indus River and faced King Porus at the Battle of the Hydaspes. It was one of his toughest battles yet. Porus brought war elephants into the fight. But Alexander outmaneuvered him, as always, and showed his respect by allowing Porus to keep his kingdom. But by now, his men were exhausted. They had marched for years, fought countless battles, and traveled thousands of miles. In India, they refused to go farther. Reluctantly, Alexander turned back. On the way home, he led his army through the brutal Gedrosian desert. Thousands died. Yet Alexander pressed on. When he finally returned to Babylon, he began planning his next great campaign, the conquest of Arabia. But he would never begin it. In 323 BCE, Alexander fell ill. Some say it was malaria. Others suspect poison. Within days, the most powerful man on earth was dead. He was just 32 years old. With no clear heir, his empire shattered. His generals, the Diadochi, carved it into pieces and fought over it for decades. But the world would never forget Alexander. He had created the largest empire of the ancient world in just over a decade. He spread Greek language and culture across 3 continents. He inspired cities, legends, and even religions. He became more than a man. He became a myth. So why was Alexander the Great unstoppable? It wasn't just his courage. It wasn't just his strategy. It was his vision, a vision so powerful it reshaped the ancient world. And even now, more than 2,000 years later, we still remember his name.